Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. Today I'll be doing sort of a one-off video. So I got inspired by my friend whose name on YouTube is exclamation mark YT to do this video. You should check him out. He's a very good Cuphead speedrunner. He made a video about the hardest Cuphead bosses to speedrun on version 1.18%. And due to me being like more of like a DLC player, I feel like I should do the same thing for DLC. So that's what we're doing right now. So if y'all like this type of content, I might make more videos like this in the future. But yeah, let's just get into it. So we have 5 tiers here: easy, which is easy, and then moderate, challenging, very hard, and then reset, which is like the hardest tier. You'll probably reset on these bosses. So to start off, we have Forest Follies, which isn't. It used to be like a really bad level, but due to like a new strategy being like rediscovered, I guess, on the Tisman Dash, it makes it much more bearable as long as you can like not take damage throughout the beginning of the level. So I'm gonna throw it at challenging because it still can be difficult, but it is definitely more feasible than it was just like a few months back. So yeah. Next up we have Mausoleum, which is just easy, honestly. There's quite literally like nothing you should die to in Mausoleum unless you just completely lose focus and make a stupid mistake. Like pretty much 9 times out of 10, well, not even just like 10 times out of 10, you should survive this level. I've done over like 2,000 DLC attempts, I think, and I've only died to Mausoleum twice, which just proves. I mean, like in runs, I've only died to Mausoleum twice, which just proves how easy it is. So, that would be my ranking there. There's really much else to say. So for Glumstone, I'm actually gonna put him in moderate because phase one is pretty easy. Unless you get geese, which in that case you can take damage and then the rest of the fight becomes difficult, but it's usually pretty easy. And phase three is just a pushover. You can do the jump roll strategy, which is just allows you to just completely bypass the phase, except for the small things that the Glumstone shoots out of his mouth in phase three, but that usually isn't that big of a deal. The main problem is that in phase two, you for like the faster strategies, you like get under one of the puppets and just shoot spready X's. The problem with that is that the little like I guess like gnome things can just like jump out from under you and just hit you from below you, which can make the phase a lot more scary. So that's why I wouldn't have him in easy. But I feel like moderate's a pretty good tier for him. All right, so Mortimer Freeze. I would almost put him in reset, but due to like most of the issues with him like being sort of RNG, I'm gonna put him very hard. In phase one, it really just depends. Like if you get good RNG, like if you get bad RNG, which would be the cards pattern, it is much harder to execute the fight properly and overall just much slower. Like you have to be very optimal with your lobber and spread damage to save time, and you might take a like an extra hit or two if you're unlucky there, which can definitely just derail the rest of your fight if you don't play it optimally. And phase three, he can do a side switch where he just switches from the snowflake just switches from one side to the next. And that isn't really that big of a deal usually, but it can like throw off your face slightly and can cause you to lose time or even die if you're very disoriented. So I wouldn't necessarily say he's in reset tier, but I'm gonna go very hard for him. Okay, so this is a fight that's in reset tier. Howling Aces. Oh my god, this fight is actually just so annoying. Like, there was like substantial RNG in pretty much every phase, except I guess phase two, but I'll get into that later. So for phase one, if you get too short of a pattern, you'll just like miss a cycle. Like, there's literally nothing you can do about that. And that could cause you to lose like up to like 5 seconds on your fight, which is just really not ideal at all. In phase two, there isn't really any RNG, but like you have to like control your plane up to phase one to where it's like not swerving to one direction because otherwise you're gonna lose time and just like get hit probably because you need like just you gotta kill the dogs and like in order to and just I can't talk. But basically just like being balanced there is very important. Otherwise you just might get thrown off and just die. Um the actual phase two, like the swaps and like the movement you need to do for it is also extremely difficult. Like most of that doesn't get seen like in the fight, but if you just look at the corner where it's swapping your weapons, there's a lot. Like especially with what Mark does, it is definitely very difficult. And then phase three, if you had to just like guess like where the turret's gonna end up and shoot a lava trap there, and if it doesn't shoot there, you could just potentially like miss a cycle again, which loses even more time. So overall, this fight is just really not good. So that's why he's in the reset tier for me. Okay, so Esther, there's just really nothing to worry about for Esther. I mean, I guess sometimes like you can get hit randomly because like there's like a safe spot you can do, but sometimes it doesn't always work. And then sometimes in phase three, like the bean cans can open up earlier, causing you to get hit. But other than that, it's just really like not that big of a deal. Like everything else is pretty simple if you execute properly. So he's gonna go an easy tier, definitely above Mausoleum, but definitely an easy tier. I just realized I forgot to put Moonshine in here. That's just a really dumb mistake. My bad on that one. So Moonshine, if you're doing the regular like annual skip strat, like there really isn't much to worry about. It's mostly just RNG, which at the end of the day isn't that big of a deal. I would say it's like in between moderate and challenging. Like I think it's like very high moderate or very low challenging. I'm probably just gonna put him in challenging, but it's like very low, like almost in moderate for me. Because if you just like don't get a good power in phase one, or like the bombs are in good spots in phase twos where you can avoid them easier, the fight just quickly turns into a crapshoot. And just like being able to like manage that correctly and like also doing optimal damage to the boss can be a problem at times. So finally, we're at Chef, and Chef is definitely the hardest boss in the whole run. I'm gonna put him at reset above Howling even. Phase one, usually isn't that bad. The thing is though, like you have to get him in like a damage window of around 24, I think it is. And there's multiple windows you can get into, but there's like most of the time, like you get a damage value where ultimate just isn't gonna work no matter how well you execute the rest of it. Which is just extremely annoying and automatically kills your run if it happens to you. If you're like at a very high level, like me and Mark, it could like if you miss ultimate, your run's basically just done for. And in phase two, doing the actual setup in order to hit ultimate with the shakers is very difficult because you need to get a curse shaker. And if you do the fight how you're normally supposed to, which is killing the two shakers at the beginning and then killing four more, sometimes like getting the curse shaker can be very tight. I've lost multiple runs to missing the curse shaker on the bottom right, so much so they even became a meme in the community, which is just it's awesome. So yeah, it's just really annoying to do there. And if you have five shakers or three shakers, it's generally easier, but most of the time you're not going to get that. So you could just be screwed there too. And doing the actual lobber trap in phase three in order to hit Saltman is also very difficult. It's become easier recently because on certain cases, if the saw goes to the right, you can set up a lobber trap to do 295 damage instead of 284 because you're getting one extra lobber. And that one extra lobber makes a huge difference because it like drastically opened the damage window required for Saltman. I think I was wrong about the 20. It might be actually it's like 25. I don't really know. It doesn't really matter. But that makes it a lot easier. The saw goes on the left though. You can only get to 284, which seems like a lot, but your damage window is going to be much tighter in that case, and that just makes it a lot harder to do Saltman itself. If you do end up missing Saltman though, but just continue to run anyway because you're not like a top runner, the final phase is really not that bad. If you do the lobber trap strat in the first place, like the heart should die very quickly, and as long as you just like don't fail to jump on a platform, it really shouldn't be an issue at all. So, that's about the end of this video. I really hope y'all enjoyed it. I mean, I hope this gives some insight into like which fights can really screw your run over in this game. And yeah, that's gonna be it. See y'all next time. Bye.